You're live. I cannot stand. I did my hair so fast. All right, we're live, everyone. Let's do a check to make sure that people can see us. Oh, someone's watching already? Is that like, that's like a trick, isn't it?
And it's not very accurate.
Is somebody out there? Is anybody out there? Don't be afraid. So I actually have two different topics that I thought we could decide that you wanted, which one you wanted to talk about, but we have to make sure that we're actually live first. Okay, is that like us right now? Look at that, we're on there. I actually don't. Oh.
There are two types of lizard or reptilian kinds of beings when they appear on Earth.
Skip it.
When they appear on Earth.
Skip it. Creepy. It's weird. I don't know if I like that. Bam, bam. I don't know if I like that. All right, should we go? Let's go live on Facebook really quick to let everybody know that we're going live. Should we go live on my Facebook profile, or should we go on my page, Detroit AllyCat?
I have no idea. Probably your page.
You should help me figure this out. Oh, I don't even have that on my on this tablet. So I don't want to do that on Blue Crow Talent because I'm just gonna do it on my my regular. Okay, while using this app. Sorry, guys, that we're so boring right now. We're just trying it out. Okay, let's see. Woo! That's too close. Look, we're live on both things. That's kind of cool, right? Look. Hi, everybody. This is Detroit AllyCat. We are live on my YouTube, and you can really see my makeup in there, and it looks weird. But you should go on our YouTube right now and come chat with us because we're going to be on here for an hour, and we're going to talk about true crime stuff and paranormal stuff, and we really like to see you. And again, that is on the YouTube channel, Detroit AllyCat. AllyCat is one word. Okay, thank you so much. Bye. Okay, is it just us now? Post now. Post for 30 days. Okay. Hey everybody, this is Detroit AllyCat. Sorry for the slow start. It's kind of weird doing a podcast. You don't really, I don't know. It's kind of hard getting it set up together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how is everybody doing out there today? That's good. So if you like the abnormal, you're into paranormal, true crime mysteries, or anything bizarre, we will be here every Sunday at 7 o'clock. Just come on in and chat with us, and we can do questions and answers, and we can talk about whatever. Next week, we're actually going to be talking to one of my friends about the LDS, which is the Latter-day Saints, which is Mormons, and that little situation that they had with all those wives and all the craziness, the cult part of the Mormonism. I have to be careful of what I say because I don't want to offend her. So I thought that would be really cool to go through and talk about that. and we can do questions and answers. I got a whole bunch of questions about it. So apparently he's in prison right now. What was his name? Warren Jeffries, I think is his name. And he had like 30 different wives, and they were like ranging anywhere from like 12 to 30. It was pretty crazy. It's like that whole polygamy stuff. Okay, so let's discuss what we are going to discuss today. I'll give you the opportunity to pick which topic we should do. So I was thinking we could either talk about the quarantine and how it's been affecting people mental health wise, or we could be talking about the justice system, the criminal justice system in America, and if we think that it's fair and what kind of loopholes there are. Which one do you think?
I don't know.
Which one do you feel any way about?
I don't know much about.
Either?
Well, I mean, everyone knows stuff about quarantine, but I don't know much stuff about the criminal justice system.
Okay, well let's talk about the quarantine, because I think that that's like an important thing to talk about, and it's kind of a hot topic right now because everybody feels like a certain kind of way. For those of you that did not know, my father actually recently passed away of COVID on Christmas Eve, and it was a reason why like my life has been a little bit crazy. And it's weird for me because in the beginning in 2020, it seemed like they were taking COVID so extremely seriously that like the entire state completely shut down. Michigan completely shut down. And like it seemed to me like it was like the only thing you were allowed to do was go get groceries. There were curfews put in place. And the amount of cases in 2020, I think it started January, February, March. Was that
March.
around? Yeah. So it started around March. And the amount of cases is like 1/100th of the amount of cases that there are now. Like it's starting to go down a little bit, but there's still way more cases right now than there were in 2020. And it feels like to me like no one cares anymore. Like it doesn't seem like anybody even talks about COVID. And it also seems to me like everybody's getting COVID, but like nobody thinks it's a serious thing anymore. That's just that's from my perspective, and I don't know if that's whoever's watching feels that way, but what do you think? Bam Bam.
I agree.
You agree that nobody is taking it seriously?
Yeah.
So here's where I'm having some problems, right? So as a small business owner, I feel that, it's important that we get back to normal, and we have to. Like, we cannot continue to have the state shut down because, like, how are we going to make money? How are we going to survive? But at the same time, it seems like just because my father passed away, it absolutely infuriates me that nobody seems to care. Like, and nobody's being respectful. Like, it just seems to me like I've had a couple people come up to me and tell me, like, that COVID isn't real, or it is real, but it's more of a government conspiracy to keep people like locked up, or it was created or generated to like, I'm sorry, that's my dogs. It was created or it was used politically for different political agendas. And like, I know that my father had like problems like medically, like he was overweight, he had diabetes, he had like problems breathing. So he had all the risk factors. But the fact of the matter is that he actually died of COVID. Like that's not it. That wasn't made up. Like that's what happened. He got COVID. And yes, it's true he had medical problems, but the part that's like tripping me out a bit, or tripping me up, is the fact that my father died in a hospital room and a ventilator. He could not have any of his family. He was put on this ventilator. None of his family could surround him, be around him. So like, even if he was having medical problems and he had risk factors, COVID-19 still affected my family in a very negative way, and it took from us. And so on one hand, I feel like, yes, we have to start doing things and we have to open up the state and work. But on the other hand, I'm pissed off because the lack of, like, I guess, like, people just are not being respectful about it. Like, I don't know if it's a coping mechanism or they're just sick of it. I don't know. So it's a thing. It's like, and honestly, I had like a plan, like what I thought that we should do. Like, I was like, we're going to get, vaccinated and do what you're supposed to do with COVID and take care of yourself, and we'll be okay. And that is not what happened to my family. I mean, I'm okay. I'm here. I haven't had COVID. You haven't had COVID. My family, like, that's been in this house has not had COVID, but my father and everyone in his household had COVID, and now he's dead. So, what do you think? Tell me your thoughts. I know you have to have thoughts.
About COVID?
No, about like just how to handle it, because like,
I don't know. I think it's like something that even after 2 years now,
Yeah.
no one's used to. But I feel like people at this point are just ignoring it because they don't want to deal with it. And like, it's been going on for so long that they feel like it's just, maybe it's a part of living now, that's just a risk.
does it upset you when you see that people act like they don't care that there's
Yeah, of course. I think it's something that if people did care about it, it wouldn't be an issue anymore.
I think that it's very hard for me to figure out like what to do. And if you're like, oh hey, Natasha Dean, my Russian spy, just so anybody watching knows that Natasha Dean is our coworker and she's also a Russian spy. I don't know if I should say that right now with that thing going on in the Ukraine and Russia, and that might be a weird thing to say. So I might get taken off air. But yes, this is our friend, Natasha Dean. Natasha Dean, why don't you tell us what you think about COVID? Because, I mean, you might have some thoughts. Like, do you feel like what do you think that the state should do with COVID? Like, should we, like, shut down, or should we just act like nothing's going on? Or, like, because that's where I am. Way to blow my cover. I know, man. You're done for. I love calling you my Russian. There was a really good movie about this Russian spy, and I forget what the name of it is. I gotta find it for you, but this chick was so hot, and they made her out to be like the ultimate Russian spy. And she ended up like turning on Russia or whatever. But anytime I see like Natasha
I
Dean.
know what movie you're talking
Oh,
about.
you do?
I don't remember what it was called. Didn't it have what's her name?
I don't know what her name is. She was hot though. Like, she was super hot.
Hold on.
Now I've got Bam Bam like on the run. She like needs to know what this. You need to watch
Scarlett
this.
Johansson.
Scarlett
She's
Jo.
so hot.
Oh yeah, was it Scarlett Johansson?
It might have been.
I don't think it was Scarlett Johansson.
Hold on.
But the name of the movie was a movie. It was a woman's name.
Lucy?
No.
No, that wasn't Russian.
No. It was some kind of. It doesn't matter. We'll figure out look up Russian spy movie. I don't think it was Scarlett Johansson. Okay, I'm going to read what Natasha Dean says. Listen, I have a very torn perspective here. I don't want to shut down and have no work and no school for my kids, but it is real and serious. So I just don't know what the balance is. Salt? No, it was not salt. That was Angelina Jolie. This actually was a Russian actress. And a lot of the people in the movie were from Russia. So the thing is, like, I totally agree with you. Like, as a company, no, it wasn't Red Sparrow. Was it Spalt? No, it wasn't Salt. It wasn't Spalt. Spalt? Why am I saying Salt? Spalt. It was a woman's name. And okay, so let's focus one thing at a time. So like the thing is like
Anna?
Yes, the name of the movie for the Russian spy movie was Anna. You gotta watch that movie.
Oh, I've seen
She's
that
like
movie.
not Hannah Maria. Actually, that's like another weird spy movie, and I believe they're Russian too. But Anna's a movie, and Hannah is like a series. Is that on Netflix? And hi Maria, how are you? But Anna's really good. You should watch that, Natasha Dean. I think you would actually like it.
She was played by Sasha Luss.
Yeah, she's really Russian. So like I'm not really into like high action movies, but like this one was good. It was very like female empowerment, but there are also rape scenes, so just know that. But I thought it was a really good movie. So back to what we were talking about. Like, so the thing is that like Blue Crow, when the whole COVID hit, when it started, the pandemic hit, all of our events that we had completely canceled, and we were completely shut down. I would say for, was it a year or 6 months?
I would say 6 months because I moved in June and we had just started getting
I don't think we
things.
really started getting gigs until 2021, until after the pandemic.
Yeah.
So like it was like totally dead, and that's how I started YouTube. But like you don't really make YouTube in the beginning, or make money in YouTube in the beginning. And like, so I was very respectful with COVID, and I did not like I wore my mask, I washed my hands, I didn't go to parties, and like, but I found myself after 2 years of COVID happening getting really sick of it. And here is something that I was really getting aggravated with. Vaccinations. And this is another hot topic. Okay. So I felt that I was going to do anything that was in my power to stop COVID. Like, and I was just going to I don't like vaccinations. I'm not anti-vaxxer. I just don't like putting stuff in my body. I have a weird phobia about it. I don't like it. But I was in the military, so I did it. I had to do it. And I assumed that in order for COVID to go away, I just had to take the vaccination. But here is where I got mad. So I would say 50% of the people that I knew, they were like, I'm not taking a vaccination. And so like, I'm not going to tell somebody what they have to do, but it was making me mad. And the thing that was making me mad were these people, okay, the people who did take the vaccination, they were the people staying home. And the people who were not taking the vaccination, I noticed that they were the people that were going out to the parties and the festivals and the clubs, which seemed really ass backwards. And so I did, for a long time, I had like a lot of like anger towards people who were anti-vax. And then they started coming out with rules saying that, you know, you have to take these vaccines, or you can't work in this industry, or you can't do this, you can't do that. They started talking about actually forcing people to do vaccines. And like, that's when my like, I hate to say this like this because I feel like in YouTube we are monitored, but I don't think that the government should have that much control. I mean, I think that if you're going to say my body and my choice, which I'm very pro-choice, it has to be straight across the board. Like, the government cannot force you to get an abortion. I don't think they should be able to force you to get a vaccination. This has to be your decision. It is your body. You can't have the government telling you what to do. So here I am getting mad at these people who won't get vaccinated because they don't want to. And I mean, to me, I didn't want to get vaccinated either, but I was willing to do whatever I needed to do to make the whole pandemic end. And then they start telling people that they have to get vaccinated. And then I find myself jumping on this train where I'm like protecting the people that I'm pissed off at. Like, no, you can't tell these people. And did you know that in Australia, they're doing forcing vaccinations where like they're actually like breaking into people's houses and like holding them down and vaccinating them? Like, there's video of it online. It's like the scariest thing I've ever seen. So that was a whole lot to unpack. Anybody have anything to say about that?
You mean me?
Yeah,
Oh.
you, yeah. Well, I mean, Natasha Dean, what do you think about what I just said? And you at the
I
same time?
think that's crazy.
Do you?
I got vaccinated, but I don't think it should be forced on anyone. It's your choice.
So you don't agree with forced vaccinations?
No, that's stupid.
What do you think, Natasha Dean? Did you disappear from us? Do you believe in forced vaccinations? I'm just gonna take like, are we like frozen? Because I noticed no one's. It's not moving anymore. I'm gonna do a little testing. Oh, it is. It's still working. I agree with you for the most part. Well, that's good. So I mean, what is the answer? We're all kind of agreeing that, you know, we shouldn't be forced to take vaccinations. Stop sharing my political views. I'm not sharing your political views. We're having a discussion. You don't have to answer the questions. No, I definitely don't forced vaccination, forced anything. See, and that's what I feel like. Like, I don't think that the government should be able to tell you to do any of that medical stuff. Like, seriously. And there are people out there that actually believe that. Like, when all that stuff happened with the vaping, they like came up with these like laws because, you know, a lot of people stopped smoking, you know, and they stopped smoking because vaping came out. And I personally know how good of a thing that is. And just so you know, I think that the tobacco industry got really upset because they started losing money because of vaping. And then all of a sudden, there were these laws that were put into place that you couldn't have flavored juice in your vape, or they were trying to like make it illegal to buy vapes. And like, seriously, dude, like they tried to say it was because they didn't want teenagers to vape. And then they came out with that crazy stuff. Remember, people were in the hospital saying they were dying from vaping.
Yeah, it wasn't vapes. It was cannabis carts that had vitamin E oil in them. But everyone said it was vaping, and it became a huge thing.
Yeah, but they were using that, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I felt like, why, like, the government doesn't have like, why were, so like, I didn't understand that. Like, why would you want to stop vaping, you know? And they did. They tried to stop vaping, and now it's harder. They're still trying to go after it. And it's so like, it's so weird because all these people stopped smoking, and the government's like saying, you know, we can't have this. And I literally think it's because I feel like the tobacco industry, they were giving kickbacks to the government. So like, I'm just gonna be straight up. Like, I'm totally, I guess, a conspiracy theorist. I think that like there's a lot of shady stuff that we as the American citizens don't know about. And I think that, like, you know, we have to be really careful because people will read the news or propaganda and they'll jump on board with this stuff. Like when the whole anti-vaping thing came about, there were people on my Facebook, they were like, yeah, vapes should be illegal. I don't want my kids vaping. And I'm like, okay, look, if you don't want your kids vaping, then like you should not let them vape, but don't give the government the right to take that away. Okay, Natasha Dean said something on point with the government. Oh, did I say that backwards? I think I'm dyslexic, just so everyone knows. On point with the tobacco government thing. Agree with you there. Money rules over all in the end. See? And that's the thing. And that is why I'm talking about the vaping, is because there is no reason for them to make that illegal, and they were trying to, and they're trying to make it hard for people when in fact it's doing a good thing. It's stopping people from smoking, which we know causes cancer, right? And so now we are at the situation with the pandemic, which I feel that, like, you know, me personally, my choice was that I wanted to take the vaccination, but now they're telling people they have to be vaccinated. And I don't agree with that. Like, that needs to be somebody's personal choice. And partly, this is what I think, guys. Partly, I think, what if there's a chance if Pfizer or Moderna, AstraZeneca, what if they were giving kickbacks to somebody to force people to get vaccinated? Like, what if the boosters are not like needed? Like, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I just, like, it's kind of scary when you think about that, because like, why would they try to outlaw vaping? And then now we've got this situation. We know we can't trust them, because that makes no damn sense that we would try to outlaw something that's helping people. And now we got this situation where they're trying to force people to take the vaccination. You don't know if they're doing this because they want the, you know, pandemic to end, which they might. I mean, I'm sure they do. Or is there some kind of monetary reason why, you know, to do it? And then here's another thing that's kind of scary. The more these things come out, like with the pandemic, and the more control we give to the government, I mean, like, we're moving to a, what is it called? A totalitarianism. I know I said that wrong. A totalitarian. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but I don't know how to say it.
Okay, like, not communist, not socialist, but a totalitarian. I know it's something like that. Government, where the government has like a lot of control, like they can tell you what to do. And so we keep giving them like these, like, you know, rights, or, you know, you can enforce this, and it's like they can start like forcing you to do all these different things. Like, I remember when the abortion thing started happening, and I think isn't abortions illegal in
some states.
Ohio, right?
I don't know exactly.
Okay, so we worked at Cedar Point, and we were driving back from Cedar Point, and there's like this huge building. You got it.
Totalitarianism.
It's always been a really freaking hard word to say. Totalitarianism. Yeah, that's the word. So we're driving back from like Ohio, and there's this huge building, right? And on this building, there's this gigantic cross, and like, I'm not really thinking anything of it, but then there's all these little tiny crosses all around it. And it's a freaking pro-life gigantic billboard. And I think right around that time is when they outlawed, you know, abortions in Ohio. So I think don't quote me, because maybe I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive that abortions are illegal in Ohio. And the thing is that, like, even if you are pro-life, that's your choice, you know? Like, if you're pro-life, you can't tell somebody else or force somebody else to believe in what you believe in. Like, maybe you don't think that that's right, but like, you can't force somebody to be like pro-life. Like these are choices that they need to make. And the problem is that like if you make abortion illegal, they're going to go do that anyway. Like you're not going to stop anything. Like we've learned from prohibition that if something becomes illegal, it's still going to go down, you know? And so you make these abortions illegal, you're going to have like these backyard abortions with coat hangers. And I just get really worried when you start giving the government all this power. And I just think it's absolutely incredible that they have any rights or any say what a woman does with her body. Like the next thing you know, they're going to be forcing women to, they can't get their tubes tied, or they have to have babies, or they can't have babies because they don't make enough money. Like that's some crazy stuff. You know, and that show, like The Handmaid's Tale, did you watch it?
You made me watch some of it.
Oh, that's right. We were watching it at that hotel.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, you know, that's like a up science fiction show, The Handmaid's Tale, but that's possible. Like, it seems like it's not possible, but that's possible. Like, you would be surprised. Like, what I mean, like China, they only allow you to have one child, and I've read some of like the things that happen over in China, and apparently like there have been women that have gotten pregnant and they force you to get abortions. Can you imagine that?
No, it's crazy.
Like being pregnant and then your government like makes you get like a government abortion. Like that's scary. But you know, we've kind of segued to other talks. But the thing is so like with the vaccinations, I 100% feel that should not be forced. I do, however, feel that if people are going to have like festivals or like, you know, big parties, if they want to say that the people that can come, they would want them to show like their vaccination card. You have to pay additional child tax if you have multiple children in China. Yes, I did read that, which I think is kind of messed up because it's proven that people within a certain poverty level, they end up getting pregnant more, you know, because what is it? Prostitution's pretty big in China. So can you imagine? Like you get pregnant. Actually, I read they have this whole like podcast on YouTube about that, like prostitutes in China and how they get pregnant and how they're forced to like get an abortion in China. It was really interesting and it was really sad. And then it even went on to talk about like children in India, because apparently like if you have a female child in India, there's like a 1 in 4 chance that this child's going to be murdered before when they're born, because when you have a female daughter in India, you have to like marry her off to another family and you have to pay money to that family. Have you ever heard of it? It's called a dowry system.
I think I've heard of something like that before.
Yeah, so the name of like killing your female children is called femicide or something like that. That's really off topic. But going back, so with COVID, like if they have like these big events, like right now they have the Dirty Show, and a little bit they're going to have the Electric Forest. Like, so I kind of feel like it's okay to say like you have to show your vaccination card. I feel a little weird about it. Like my heart just jumped when I said that. But I feel like that is not the government involved. That is actually like people saying that like they want to see the vaccination cards. And that's different than like your job saying you have to see the vaccination cards or you cannot work at this job. I don't know. It's like a very strange like thing because like if you work at a hospital, you know, should you have to have the vaccination?
That's a toughie.
See, and also when you're in the military, you have to get vaccinated. Like, you cannot be like deployed and not get vaccinations. Like when you get like go to different countries, like I remember I had to take the anthrax vaccination. And so right now, you know, COVID's one of the big diseases. So they're forcing their military. It's not really forcing, because like when you're in the military, you sign up to do whatever they tell you to do. So they're basically just saying you have to take this. And, you know, 10% of the military right now is getting chaptered out. And chaptered just means like legally kicked out because they won't do it. All right. Natasha Dean, Russian spy, has said something. So we're going to go ahead and read that. I think it's in, oh, why can I not read, guys? I really need glasses. I think it's in any event holder's right to choose what they allow and don't at their event. That is definitely true. Events are not a right. So I think the event coordinators can state that myself too. That's what I agree. I agree. I think that if it's a personal choice, that's a lot different than the government telling you have to. But here's where it changes. Now, if you have a job, okay, and they tell you have to be vaccinated to work in that job, like that is not the government, sorta, I guess. I mean, if it's a hospital, it probably is. If it's the military, it's the government. So like,
I think it depends on the job. Because I feel like when you work in a hospital, it kind of makes sense because you're going to be treating people who have that disease and they don't want it to be spread throughout the hospital, I guess.
I'm glad that I don't have to make those decisions. I just know that I do not agree with our government, the federal government, the one that's got all the 50 states involved. I do not think that they should have the right to force people to get vaccinated. I don't. I personally think that people should be vaccinated. But okay, Natasha Dean has something else to say. She says, I agree the job situation is very difficult. I don't know what's right there. Do those places require other health vaccinations? Okay, so like I was saying, like in the military, like if you go, like say for instance, you're going to get deployed to like Afghanistan or Iraq or wherever. She says, like, do you have to have all other vaccines working in the hospital? Honestly, I don't know. So I'm going to answer that from the military perspective. Oh, I can't say your name, sir, or ma'am, or them. Adair, hello, first-time commenter. If you think mandatory vaccination is good, you need to rethink it, please. I don't think mandatory vaccination is good. I absolutely do not. I think that our government should not have the right to tell the people that they need to be vaccinated, and that's what I'm talking about right now. But what the question is different types of jobs if they should have mandatory vaccination. So the answer to that is like when you're in the military and this isn't really the answer, it's just like a statement. When you're in the military and you're going to go get deployed, you're going to go to a different country. Oh, I did. I said the name right, Adair. Okay, cool. Well, it's nice to meet you, Adair. I'm Detroit AllyCat. And this is Bam Bam. She's not quite comfortable with
Bam Bam
telling people her name. But so like when you get deployed, they make you do all of these vaccinations, right? Like this is not like, you can't tell them like, oh, I don't want to have that vaccination when you're in the military. They're like, you have to take this one. Like, and these are diseases that have been in like going on for hundreds of years. Like you have to take like the chicken pox and it's named something else, like smallpox. Like there's those weird flus, malaria. Then there's anthrax. There's like hepatitis, like all these different vaccinations for the military. And so they're going to throw the COVID vaccine in there. And I think the reason why some people don't want to take the vaccine in the military is because it was put out there so fast that it scared people, which I really don't want to jump into that discussion because that's like a whole nother thing. But like, so 10% of the military have said, I don't want to take this vaccination. And so they have decided that they're going to chapter them out. Now, personally, because I was in the military, I think that if you have a religious belief or there's some kind of like medical situation, like you already signed up and said you were going to take all these vaccinations prior to COVID. So you kind of agreed to do whatever they said. And the military is kind of a different situation. Now with the hospitals, that's kind of a thing too, because like, no, you don't have to have vaccinations to work at a hospital. Like they will tell you like, yes, you should have these vaccinations. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I have nurses in my family and, you know, I know doctors, so they give them these things for free, but never before have they actually forced people to take vaccinations. 6 years.
Well, they were on last time, remember?
Oh, it was 6 years though.
Remember when you were talking about what we should do for videos? They did said BDSM.
Oh. Yeah. You know that there are people that are really into like BDSM that are in the military, and that's why they sign up to be into the military, because they like all that ordering about.
Oh.
I just thought that's like a fun fact for people. And so I don't know how I feel. I think that if you're going to work in a COVID unit where you're working in the ICU with COVID patients and these people have very serious COVID infections, that you definitely, I don't know. That's a really hard decision. I just know that the government should not have the right to tell you that you have to do this. Let's see what Ed Air says. He says, in my opinion, the vaccination isn't or hasn't helped people who are vaccinated still get ill and are spreading COVID thinking they are COVID free. Okay, so I agree and I disagree with you. So I'm gonna tell you something that just recently happened. My father passed away of COVID December 23rd of on Christmas Eve. And my father, my mother, and my brother, they were all vaccinated. They had the full shot and then they had the booster. And so, yes, they all caught COVID. And the reason they caught COVID is because my father had heart problems. And so he went to the hospital. And at that time, they were packed because all these people were infected with COVID. And right now we are having it's like the amount of cases with COVID are huge right now. And that is what I started talking about, is because I feel like in the beginning, the COVID cases were so small and now they're massive and there's like no coverage on it. It's starting to go down a little bit, but it's still really high. So my father, he started having heart problems and he went to the hospital, and because there were all these people who were not vaccinated, that's just what I think. I don't have exact proof. I'm just going by what the doctor said, that most of the people in the emergency room that were positive with COVID were because they weren't unvaccinated. My father ended up getting infected with COVID. My mom and my brother, they both survived. And I believe if they were not vaccinated, that they would have, I think my mom would have died too. My father actually survived for like 2 weeks with COVID, and he was really, really sick. And the doctor said the only reason that he had made it as long as he did is because he was vaccinated. And I think, my father had all of these things on like his situation that made it worse, because he had like, diabetes, he was overweight, he had problems with his heart. So he was really sick to begin with. What? Bum today? I'm not sure what that means, but okay. And so, he passed away, and I think that even if you are vaccinated, you can still get sick and die. I mean, there is a chance of that. I think that the vaccination makes your effects not as intense, and I think it gives you more of a chance. I also think that you can still give people COVID even though you are vaccinated. And yeah, so I mean, that's what we're talking about right now. Is just like, I feel like the world is acting like, COVID isn't happening. It just seems like no one's taking it as serious. And I think it's more serious than it's ever been. And I just wanted to have the discussion, because it kind of blows my mind that there's this many people that are sick. Like, there are people that send their kids to school right now, and COVID's so super high. Does that like scare you? Does that like freak you out? Like, it freaks me out. All right, let's see what Adair says. He says, your heart is probably still broken. My mom died last year and it still hurts. Yes, my heart is definitely a little messed up from what happened, for sure. But mostly because I feel a little angry that we're not talking about the fact that COVID is still going on. And, part of me wants to just say that, like, there's nothing we can do right now about COVID. Like, it is what it is, and that we just need to, like, go on and survive and just open up and keep going. But there's another part of me that's, like, really mad, because it seems like nobody cares. Like, nobody's, like, doing anything to stop it. Like, if you don't want to take the vaccine, like, okay, I get it. That's your personal choice. But there are some people that are not even like sitting down and even thinking about like taking the vaccine. They're not looking up the information. They're not like seeing if it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, or like the science behind it. They're just straight up saying, F it. I don't give a, what I'm saying? And like, that really pisses me off. And yeah, I feel like we've like kind of talked about this enough. What do you think?
I pretty much agree with everything you said.
Well,
it's very complicated.
It is very complicated, and it's something that people don't really like to talk about, like people don't want to talk about it. And before my dad died, I thought I had it figured out. Like, I thought, like, you stay safe, you stay in the house, you wash your hands, you wear a mask, you get vaccinated, and you're going to be safe. But like, that did not happen to me. And like, when my dad died, like, it broke all the rules in my head. Like, now I'm like, well, now what? Okay, so Angie Explores, she says, I relate to feeling both those things as well. Hi, Angie, how are you? Yeah, it's just, it's weird. I've become a lot more of a shut-in due to wanting to stay safe from a systematic people who don't want to wear a mask. And you know what? And that's something else that we haven't talked about, is that the mental health repercussions of forcing people to stay inside. I'm glad you're doing good. Stay inside the house. Like, last year alone, I have never seen as many people as I have commit suicide. And like, these are people that I knew, like straight up knew these people, and people were like, they committed suicide. And I really feel like this is a repercussion of doing the quarantine. So like, you keep everybody inside and you quarantine to keep away from like, this disease out there. But then people are getting depression and they're becoming mentally ill, and then something happened, like they kill themselves. So all of that they did was for nothing, because it's effed up, man. I don't know, like it's just it's just one of them things, guys. I don't know. I do know that I am not in agreement with giving the government the power to tell us what we can or cannot do with our bodies. Yeah, the numbers for all the mental health issues have increased by large numbers since it started. It absolutely has. I have a teenage daughter, and I can tell you that a lot of her friends, they say that they're suicidal. They say that they're like freaking out, and like it's hard. So like the system was already very broken for those dealing with mental health issues. This just makes it so much worse. That is 100% true. The mental health system in the United States sucks. Like there's nothing. Like I cannot believe how many resources are not out there for people. Like, and that's the thing, is like, it's like the insurance problems. Like, I think that it should be just a basic thing that the insurance should cover someone going to see a therapist or a psychiatrist. And honestly, I feel like insurance should be covering like dental and eyes. Like, why do insurances not cover dental? That's like part of your like medical situation, right? Like your teeth are part of your body. Why is dental separate? Like, what the hell? There are so many things wrong with our system that like I could go on for hours, but I mean, I guess the one thing that I wanted to talk about today was, COVID, and I wanted to put it out there that like it's crazy. A lot of people have COVID right now. Yes, it's very messed up, those things that are not covered. It's totally messed up. Like, why? Okay, so like if you get a cavity in your mouth, why is that not covered by insurance? Like, seriously. Like, our government has it worked out where they can try to take as much money from you as possible. And then everybody's trying to figure out why people don't have money. Well, we don't have money because now there's inflation, the cost of gas is going up, nothing is covered in your insurance. So if you get sick, I'm willing to bet that every single person that's on this list listening to us today, they probably have tons of medical bills because your insurance doesn't cover this because you were wearing pink that day, or your insurance doesn't cover this because you didn't get a referral from the Prime Minister of the Poodles of the United Republic of Bob. Like, this is the stuff that we have to deal with in the United States, and it really bums me out. You're a good thinker. Am I a good thinker?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm a crazy person, I think, but like there's just so much going on in our country right now, and there are so many things that are like really scaring me. Like, we have this pandemic going on, and we should be trying to figure out how to move the country forward and how to get the economy going back on track and getting people to make money and working that out. But instead, we're trying to figure out how to force people how to get these shots that, even if I think that these people should get shots or vaccinated, you can't tell them that they have to do that, because like the next thing you know, they're going to tell you that you don't need your left pinky and that everybody on the right side of the state needs to cut their pinky off. And I know that sounds funny, but that's how the government works. You give them a little bit of control, and then all of a sudden they feel like they can completely tell you everything to do. And it's like, I don't want a system that has decided that the increased prices of groceries should go up 25%. That's what it is. Have you guys been to the dollar store lately? It is no longer the dollar store. It is the $1.25 store. That's what COVID did. That's what our country is doing to fix the pandemic. We made the dollar store the $1.25 store. Okay, let's see what Angie has to say. Poor dental hygiene can lead to heart disease and other things as well. It's vital for proper health. It should be covered. It 100% should be covered. A sad thing is there really is no one place on the planet where they've got it all figured out. No, that they don't have it all figured out. But the thing is that we're the United States of America, right? We're supposed to be the number one superpower of the entire planet. So if somebody should be the closest to figuring it out, we should. And we're not supposed to be in a government system where one person is making the choices for everybody. We're supposed to be working all together to make sure that everything is okay. And the problem right now is that there's all these really greedy people in our government, and they're running this system, and they're forcing us to do crazy things like outlaw vaping when it's keeping people from getting lung cancer, or they're like making us pay for dental coverage instead of just having one coverage. It's just it's messed up. And all these people that are in that little White House, which now has a wall built around it. Did you guys know that? They built a gigantic wall around the White House. Why? But I think that there's so much greed and there is so much corruption in this country right now, and nobody is working on what's really going on, which is there's this crazy disease that came out of nowhere in 2020 where it started, and like it just, I don't know, it's just a mess. It's just a mess, and it makes me angry. All right, let's see what Angie says. I don't think the government should have the right, but I do think employers should have the right to mandate it for their employees. Yes, that's what we were talking about. We agreed that we thought that. It's kind of like a slippery slope for me. I do think that, like, if you're in the military and you're getting deployed, yes, you should be forced to have a vaccination. And yeah, probably in the hospital and medical, yes. But I do not think that the government should be able to tell you that. And then you said, capitalism seems to get in the way of social needing being met. Yes. I disagree strongly. You disagree with me about our government being greedy? Where do you disagree with me? Capitalism, or maybe the dental situation. Maybe you haven't had a cavity lately. Well, guys, we are getting at that time. It is 8:06, and I think that I've rambled on quite a bit. I was less goofy this time around, but, I kind of wanted to talk about COVID because, like, it was something that it's been bothering me. And, maybe someone's going to watch this YouTube channel and be like, wow, man, she's crazy. I don't know. Maybe I should start. You disagree strongly about employees vaccinating. You know what, Adair? I think that is a really complicated situation. And like I just told Bam Bam, I am really glad that I don't have to make that decision because I don't know what the answer is to that. I just know that I do not think that the government should have the right to tell somebody to get a vaccination. I don't think that the government should have the right to tell them about if they should be able to vape or have an abortion. And honestly, I know this is going to be a very controversial topic that I'm just going to say. If an employer has a right to drug test, why not have the other rights to keep employees safe? Okay, so it's a good question, Angie. I don't know how to explain that. So drug testing would be to see if you would be like inebriated. So like if you are intoxicated at work on drugs, then you obviously cannot work because like say for instance you're a surgeon, like how are you going to do surgery if you are on drugs? And then like the difference is that like so we're talking about a vaccination, right? And this is something that I feel is a little bit more personal because I don't think that I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that, to be honest with you. I really don't. I think that this pandemic is out of control. I think it's a pain, and I think that we need some good, honest people that actually care about the people of this country to sit together and figure it out. And I think that everybody in the country should have a right to say how they feel about what's going to happen to this country. And, you know, maybe I'll run for president and help everybody out. But until then, so yeah, it's 8:09 and I've rambled on about this and I've enjoyed doing it. And I definitely feel like I gave everybody something to think about. It wasn't, do you think that this was true crime-ish?
Not really.
So this wasn't a true crime, but that's not true because is it a crime for our government to force us to do things to our bodies that we might not agree about? Please do run for president. You have my vote. That would be fun. Thank you. So yeah, okay. Well, we talked about COVID, and next week we're gonna talk about some other things. I think that we want to get a little bit more spooky next week and talk about some like conspiracies on some ghosts in Michigan because I think that would be a little bit more fun. There is something in Michigan called the Michigan Triangle, which is like the Bermuda Triangle. And I really want to talk about it. If you guys want me to talk about a specific subject and like have a discussion about it, please put it in the comments. I'm going to look at the comments. Please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Please give me a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment telling me what you think. I appreciate you guys being on here. I'm trying to do something. It's very hard being an artist and making a living. So this is what I do. And me and Bam Bam will be here every Sunday, 7 to 8. Next week, we will be talking about the Latter-day Saints from 7 to 8. Oh, I did. I said that we were going to talk about the Bermuda Triangle or the Michigan Triangle. We are talking about Mormons next Sunday, and then Sunday after that, we'll talk about ghosts. So, and then Adair says, ghosts, no goats. No, I won't talk about goats. I promise I will not talk about goats. And thank you, Angie. I really appreciate your support. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, stay spooky and stay safe. Bye.